what's the future of horse racing look like? And what do we do with the horse track if they don't continue? What do we do with the grandstands? What is the long-term plan for the fairgrounds? And what is our priorities?
We haven't addressed the long-term plan on the fairgrounds, but the issue that we have is that we have given them until June to come up with their funding plan. But they're getting a lot of their funding from donations.
Which is one-time grant money, really.
And one-time grant money, so how are they going to carry into the next fiscal year? We may not, how do we plan for it if they're not going to have money, right?
Yeah.
So they need to come to us with a plan as to what they're going to do next year. I see
And their
suspicion.
new liaison will carry that message.
The liaison will carry that message. They may meet the goal this year, but what are they going to do next year? Are they going to get the same people to come up with the same amount of money for next year?
That's what I kind of want to have started as far as a conversation, so that we're building that into our proposed budget for next year. Frankly, we probably should have been doing it a year ago. But
So how, what I'm saying though is how are we going to go for a long-range plan on the fairgrounds if we don't know that the fairgrounds is going to be able to fund for just the next fiscal year? I think when the fair comes in with their proposed budget thing for the next fiscal year, because they're going to have to do it just like everybody else. And if they can't make it work, then we're going to have to decide, put a committee together and say, okay, you can't make this work, so what's going to be the plan now?
do we have to wait for them to tell us that?
Well, I think for us to presume right now that they're not going to do it because they're working really hard to make it.
It doesn't mean that they go away. I'm not entertaining them, but that what they're doing is not sustainable with
No,
the
it's
deferred
not
maintenance that
sustainable.
they have out there.
It's not sustainable.
Just to keep the doors open and the lights on is not, that's not being proactive.
Maybe,
it
maybe
needs
the
to be
liaison,
framed in the right way.
maybe the liaison should meet with our fair board and have that discussion with them. Say we need to start
We need a
planning for
long-term
next
plan.
year. We need a long-term plan for next year.
Not next year, 5 years.
No, but we need it to begin
Yes.
next year. I'm not saying this is wrong here.
5, 10
I'm saying
years.
we need, here we are coming down to the end of this fiscal year, and starting next year, we're gonna have to have something in place that it's either gonna go or it's not gonna go, and if you're not gonna go, we need to know what you're gonna do. Because that's why we have a fair board, is for their advice.
They manage the fair. The grounds are actually a county asset up to the board of commissioners to really.
Right, but if we're not gonna have a fair, or they don't wanna do the fair, or they can't do the fair, then we have to do something else.
Yeah.
We need to talk to them first.
Oh, sure.
That's the first.
And I have not yet talked to them, but I will tonight.
Oh, you're going to the board meeting tonight? Okay.
How convenient.
What
How convenient.
I really don't want them to get the idea is that anybody is looking at not having a fair. We're
Right.
looking at what is the best way to have a fair in
Right.
perpetuity. Right now, you're dealing with buildings that are pushing really old and they won't last forever. Putting new paint on the hog and beef barn isn't going to cut it anymore. And I don't want to we need a long-term plan. I don't want to invest $250,000 on a roof on a building that in 5 or 10 years we
Can't go
say,
there.
gosh, we need to move, we need to do something different.
On the commissioner's report, I'd like to introduce Mr. Heck. He's our new liaison from the county commissioners. If you'd like to say,
I don't know what the format is, so I will watch tonight.
okay. Glad to have you aboard.
Good to be here. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
You can tell us what's going on in the county if there's anything we need to know.
Yeah, well, if I figured it out, you'll be the first one.
Next on the affiliate reports is Friends of the Fairgrounds.